My name is Shaun Overton, and I am turning this into a desert forest. We've been blessed with a huge rain event recently where we finally got to see a lot of the earthworks in action. The one earthwork I guarantee not a single person asked about in the comments was, how did the cave hole do? Let me show you the best water retention structure I semi-accidentally built. It's actually right here. 8 days ago it rained, and it is still clearly wet. That is the wettest spot on the ranch. Where I intentionally built this here, it's not a coincidence. I knew it was in the channel. What I didn't realize is that it would fill up so quickly and so easily. So I know people have wanted to see swales for a really long time. The water's here. It's a great opportunity. It is time to build my first swale. What I want to do is I'm going to put the swale almost exactly on contour. The reason I say almost is we have a difference in slopes, and I'll try to show you guys this on the drone as well. This hill to the south is the steepest by far. It's probably one of the choicest spots on the ranch because it faces north, which means that it faces the least amount of sun pressure. Not coincidentally, it also has the thickest stand of grass. Now, this hillside to the north faces south, and the slopes are a lot gentler. So what I want to do, especially because I'm going to be bringing a meaningful amount of water near camp, I want the water to definitely drain this way, come towards camp here, and then continue going around on the hillside where the slope is a lot more gentle, and I will pick an exit where I feel like the channel can handle it, and then we'll bring swales to come back this way, and we'll zigzag across this giant bowl that I have. And that's a great way for me to continue making meaningful progress while Brandon and Daniel focus on planting and taking care of the terraces that we have built and that we are irrigating. Right now, a lot of the plant work is kind of paused because we have run out of real estate to plant new things with irrigation. We've got plenty of room to plant things, but we don't have the water for it. So while I don't have the water, I think the best thing I can do is water harvesting structures. And as I get further down the watershed, just from the water I've seen, there are pond opportunities further down. They won't be nearly as grandiose or as amazing as the one I had originally in mind, but that's the reality because of my equipment limitations. I think that's enough yapping. Let's start measuring. And we need the Lenker rod. The cave hole is right there. And instead of me making this swale perfectly on contour, I need this high because I'm going to be dropping it. And the reason I'm going to be dropping it is that I'm going to make it on a 0.1% grade. For every 50 feet that I go away from this point, I'm going to want to have the swale rise up 0.5 feet. And in metric, that is for every roughly 15 meters, I'm gonna have the swale rise up from here about 15 centimeters. 1.5 centimeters. Yeah, that was way too much. Okay, and I'm gonna go put this where it's a little more useful. But we'll mark the first one here. Okay, and now what I need to do is set up my first spot. Mark this here. And I gotta go get stakes, but let me... Well, that's deep enough for our purposes. Okay, now I need to go 50 feet and beyond level. So let me show you how I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go what I think is 50 feet. And what I'm gonna do is try to get the laser from my rangefinder onto that stake and tell me when I'm 50 feet away. Too close. Stand on the other side of this agave. We're gonna harvest all of that, by the way. 16.7, okay, here. I forgot to do something. Okay, so this has got to go up 0.5 feet. Okay, so this has got to be one notch before 9.4. So it's below the 9.5. Now it needs to go to the 9.4. As is usual for the summertime, all my cameras quit on me, which is fine because eventually I got out of line of sight of the laser, and honestly, I'm pretty dehydrated now, so it's break time for me. We probably got another 40 minutes before the sun goes down, and even then, I probably got another hour and a half of light, so I'm gonna keep going. But first, I gotta get hydrated, and I'm gonna check temperatures because I gotta open the doors for all these rooms. Right now, current temp is 100 degrees, so I need to vent the buildings. Back to it. Oh, it's funny, maybe 30 minutes ago it was really unpleasant, and as soon as the UV off the sun ceases, it's just nice now. In fact, I wish I took my hat off, but too late. So first thing, setting this guy up. That is dead level. Designing this swale makes me put a lot of thought into what makes life thrive. It's not just about water, it's about setting all of the little conditions to make sure that all of my work gives my plants the best opportunity for not just success, but a healthy life. And honestly, that's the same thought process that led me to Mave, the sponsor for today's episode. Mave is the first and only human-grade, protein-rich, raw food for dogs. And when I say human grade, I mean you can see exactly what's in it. Lean meat, organ meat, fresh produce, real ingredients I recognize. No fillers, no additives, no mystery. I've been learning how gut health drives overall vitality, not just in soil, but in dogs too. Energy, mood, immune function, it all connects back to what I'm feeding them. So while I'm putting this level of care into building an ecosystem out here, it just makes sense to give that same level of care to my favorite animals. Mave's raw food is a way to do that. High quality nourishment without the mess or the prep. If you're at all curious, please check out the link in the description because Mave and my sponsors are the reason that this project is possible. Without them, none of this is happening. So please give them a serious consideration. The link is in the description. Okay, we'll go calibrate it over there. Look at that mountain cloud. That doesn't even do it justice on the camera. It looks like nothing. In person, it's awe-inspiring. That is so pretty. We're in a rain shadow, so it is possible for that thundercloud to pass over the Indios and make it to me, but unlikely. I think the odds for me to have rain tonight are only 20%, so I'll take it if it happens. Let's keep going. Just looking at the way it's going, I bet where those two yucca are paired together, that's probably gonna be pretty close to where this swale starts. Whoa, cool. Love those birds. The rangefinder's out of battery. This is the world or the universe telling me time to stop. But that does mean I'll have to recalibrate tomorrow, which is not a big deal. Good morning, everybody. It is time to harvest some water. Obviously, it's not here yet. The name of the game is preparation. And today, I'm starting the bulldozer to run and build, which is effectively a swale. It's swale, terrace, whatever. But the point is that we're harvesting runoff. I've graded well over 1,000 feet at a 0.1% slope. And off camera yesterday, I checked my work because I was nervous and I was at a 0.08% slope. So slightly off, but that's acceptable because it means the water is at least flowing slightly downhill, even over 1,000-foot distance. Before I really get going though, I need to think about what vegetation I'm likely to save. In my mind, it's pretty much going to be cactus, grass, or agave. And unfortunately, some of this stuff is going to get lost in the process. This beautiful ocotillo, as soon as the roots are disturbed and it gets knocked over, they don't survive transplanting. So they're just going to be a loss. But it's a cost of investment. But like this little grama grass right here that's popping up, you'll see me digging that. This is going to be hard to dig out. It'll be so much easier to just use the bulldozer to loosen stuff, and then I got to climb in and out. And I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do this, but I need to get these oil pipes, which are not in great shape, but it is steel and it's here, so I got to get these out of the way. One happy little accident for our shade fence and living wall are these guys. We did not plant any seeds, which is so cool. So just by disturbing the ground and by providing it with some shade, we have life popping up. And it's not just in one spot. It's along the entire fence, which is granted only about 15, 20 feet long, but still. And what's encouraging is not many, but some of the ocotillo are leafing out, so they are alive. And hopefully in another couple of months, we'll get some cactus pads to set out new pads. I need to get all the agave uphill. So, you know, one thing I forgot to do is make sure we bury hydrogel nice and deep. It's going to be pretty easy to do since there's nothing going on here right now. And now that I can see the blade width, which is 10 feet, I'm going to bury the hydrogel around 20 feet from the edge, or scatter hydrogel, and then over time I'll be burying it. And what I want to do is I'm going to apply about 3 pounds for every 50 feet. And since I have the stakes, that makes it pretty easy to be consistent. And what's nice about this is that I am literally planting water as I do this. Now granted, it's not hydrated yet. And the reason I'm using this instead of organic options is twofold. One, when this breaks down, it's not a plastic. It is a microparticle, but even when it breaks down, it's still a hydrogel. So, but because I'm going to bury this, more than likely, it'll be deeper than 2 feet. That means that it should never break down. Or if it does, it'll take decades, if not centuries, because the thing that breaks this down is soil life, which is non-existent really below 2 feet, like the microbes, because there's no oxygen. And then UV breaks this down. So that's why I'm building this terrace in sections so that I can get the gel buried as soon as possible. Let's give you guys a little tour, show you what's going on. So the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've extended it 4 stakes, and I want to show you the difference in the soil. I couldn't dig in this part here because there's caliche. So what I did is I just extended it out wide using some extra material. And I'm pretty confident that that side is above that side. This is not the final grading. I will do that later. Right now I just want to rough cut most of the terrace. But what I did want to show you is this material. I don't know how much time y'all spend staring at the dirt that I am moving on the channel, but if you look at this stuff, it's rocky by many standards, but compared to what I normally work with, this is nothing. It's so much easier to use the dozer and to move this material because it has way more clay in it, and it also has way fewer rocks. So I don't wind up dragging big boulders all over the desert. So what I'm gonna do now is grab the mallet and the spray paint, move those stakes all the way to the end, because I may as well, and then I will get back on the dozer and keep working. And I saw the transmission warning light come on, so I stopped immediately. I mean, like, with a second. Okay, so the transmission's full. And we're not losing fluid. Totally dry. Maybe it's just temperature, I don't know. Hydros look fine. A little wet, but nothing terrible. Well, until I figure out how to read a code, it's done. Transmission goes out, this thing's scrap value. Get my stuff, and that's that. 2 o'clock. Well, it's 8 hours, it might just be hot. It's supposed to be 105 today. Hopefully she's just overheated. It's fine. It's time for me to hydrate, and I'll just take a shower and I'll look into it. I do have to take a brief detour because Rich spent a week of his life volunteering here, building check dams on his pet project. And since I'm so close, it's maybe a 2-minute walk. Feels like it would be disrespectful to not go take a look, so I'm gonna flow over there. Look at all those little volunteers. Look at all that. This is just a little path I made so that I can get over there, at least on the bike. And when Rich comes out here next April, he can rent a 4-wheel drive vehicle and come on over this way. Won't be a smooth ride, but definitely beats walking. That way he can bring more water with him. Pedro should be over here. There's Pedro. Okay, I see Rich's check dams. Let's see how they did. That definitely had water flow into them. Not tons, but look at that. So, a little bit of sediment flowed in here, down this way, and you can see the path right into here. Not tons of water, but over time, the gap in those rocks is gonna fill. And that's exciting. Caught some organic matter, helped that all break down. Yeah, Rich predicted the flow correctly, and it went down into his little micro check dam, and then into his big one. And you can see he did interrupt There's this little flowing path right here, and it caught some debris. So this is not exactly one rock, but definitely micro check dam did its job, and it'll help that acacia right there grow up and bigger. Look, Rich, you got green grass growing right by your dams. I don't know if that comes out, but this grandma is putting out new growth. Thank you for that. So cool seeing this stuff actually not just work, but to provide the benefits that we said it would. So look, he's got more grandma growing there. There's volunteers that are already going behind the check dam. For him only having done this in April and it's June, and he's already getting a result, I'm mad jealous. There's this one he built, which is really good. And look at that, Rich. Right there, you got stuff growing right in the middle of it. Green grandma behind it. The acacia's blooming. These dams all look good. And they're well built, no damage. Look, he pooled water here successfully. You can see all the way right up to the creosote and acacia, that big blob bush there. There's even more up here. You can see where it kind of flowed down. This one might need adjusting a little bit. You can see the discoloration right here. But Rich's work worked, because here you go. Look at all this organic stuff piled up right behind it. Awesome. And I think the last leg, so right here, again, Rich, good job. You got organic matter piled up right behind the rocks. Green grass growing everywhere you're making check dams. This is one of the more interesting ones he made because it's got the organic matter built into the dam itself. And it did have a small little run. This little section's a little more sturdy. And look, more green grass. This bush is starting to flower because of Rich's work. And then come down the hill. Again, more green grass. I'd say this is a win. Well, I'm happy.